Let's be honest, running is hard. Your legs burn, your lungs are on fire, and every single step feels like a personal attack on your soul. But here's the thing, it doesn't always have to feel that way. I started taking running seriously about 8 months ago, and I've already ran a 1:38 half marathon. And I can tell you that the difference between running feeling impossible versus running feeling manageable comes down to just a few key strategies. So today, I'm gonna break down my 5 top strategies to make running feel easier. So whether you're a complete beginner or training for a PR in your next race, these 5 tips are really gonna help. And stick around because tip number 5 is probably the most important thing I'm gonna say. All right, let's get into it. All right, so tip number 1 is just slowing down. And I mean, way down. Like, we're talking embarrassingly slow here, people. This is probably the single biggest mistake I see beginner runners using. And honestly, it was my biggest mistake too when I started running. So here's what usually happens. You will start your run, go out feeling really good, and then start to push the pace. But then 10 minutes in, you're completely gassed. Your heart rate is through the roof, you're breathing like you just ran a sprint, and you still have 20 minutes left. Does that sound familiar? The reality is that about 75 to 80% of your runs should be at a conversational pace. And when I say conversational, I literally mean you should be able to have a conversation if someone's running next to you. A good rule of thumb is that if you can't speak in full sentences, you're probably going too fast. And for someone like me, that's around 10 minutes per mile. And the science can back me up on this. When you do easy runs, you can still build your aerobic base, and it technically gives your body more time to recover, so it adds a lot of training benefits. If you were to constantly run hard all the time, your body would be fatiguing itself way too much, and you wouldn't get stronger as a runner. So here's your next action step. On your next run, slow your easy pace down by at least 30 to 60 seconds per mile. Yes, it might feel uncomfortably slow, and yes, you might get passed by someone power walking, but trust me, your runs are gonna feel so much better. All right, so tip number 2 is to build your aerobic base, and this kind of ties into tip number 1, but it's really important, so I thought it deserved its own section. So when a lot of people start running, their first instinct is to do speed work, things like hills, tempo runs, intervals, and yeah, it sounds productive, but the problem is that if you don't have a strong aerobic base, your body is just gonna break down. So think of your aerobic base as the foundation of a house. You can't build walls if your foundation is weak. So that aerobic base is built throughout months, years of consistent training, not days. Here's what I recommend. If you're just starting out, just do easy runs for about 6 to 8 weeks, maybe 3 to 5 times a week. Focus on building your aerobic base, and then you can start to get faster. Once you have that base and can run comfortably for 30 to 45 minutes, then you can start adding in 1 speed workout per week. But even then, keeping 75 to 80% of your runs still easy. I know this sounds boring, but that's sort of when everything started to click. Building my base allowed my easy runs to be easier. They made my hard workouts more manageable, and overall just running became a more enjoyable activity for me. Well, would you look at that? 5 miles at a 10:01 average pace, just 1 second off what I was talking about earlier. That felt smooth, easy, comfortable. Well, most of it did. And that kind of leads me into tip number 3, which is to run more consistently. So a lot of runners think that to get better, they need to run faster and more intensely and keep trying to max out their PRs. But oftentimes that type of training tends to lead to burnout, injury, and inconsistency. The secret to making running feel easier is simply just showing up. Oftentimes running 4 times a week for about 6 months is going to put you in a lot better place than running every single day for 3 months and then getting injured for 2 months because you ran and trained way too hard. Consistency not only builds fitness, but it allows your body to adapt more gradually. In my 8 months of taking running seriously, there wasn't any sort of specific workout that I did. It was just showing up week after week. So here's my challenge. Don't try to run harder. Don't try to run for longer. Just show up consistently each and every week, whether that's 5 times, whether that's 2 times. If you keep it sustainable, if you keep putting in the work, running will become so much easier and so much more enjoyable. Because when you're consistent, the pace that used to feel hard now feels a lot easier. You didn't force it, you just showed up consistently. Tip number 4, you need to fuel your runs properly. And I'm not talking about just what you eat before a run, but your overall nutrition strategy. So here's what I learned the hard way. If you're not eating enough carbs, you're probably gonna feel pretty sluggish on your runs. I used to run fasted before my runs, thinking I'd burn more calories, burn more fat, and while that could be true, my runs felt super sluggish and I felt like I was dragging a truck behind me the entire time. So carbohydrates are your body's preferred fuel source for running, and it uses glycogen, which is stored carbohydrate, for energy. And if you don't have enough of it, you're probably gonna hit a wall on your next run. So about 1 to 2 hours before most of my runs, I'll have an easily digestible carb source. For me, that's usually dates, a banana, some honey or oatmeal. Nothing too heavy, just quality carbs that my body can use. And for anything over about 90 minutes, I'll typically carry some energy with me. I personally prefer energy gels, but you can use things like dried fruit or energy chews. And the general rule is about 30 to 60 grams of carbs per hour on runs 90 minutes or longer. And post-run nutrition matters too. After a long run, I am starving and I like to get in a lot of carbs and protein, at least within an hour after I finish my run. For me, that's usually a protein shake, a turkey and rice bowl. I know how it sounds, but I love these things, or some fruit. And this definitely helps a lot with recovery and prepares me for my next run. So if you're constantly feeling sluggish, look at your nutrition. You're probably not eating enough, especially carbs, to support your training. Hits every time. And finally, tip number 5 is to prioritize recovery. And this is where a lot of runners shoot themselves in the foot, where they focus solely on training and don't recover at all. Here's the truth that really nobody wants to hear. You actually don't get fitter during your runs, but after, when you're recovering. So when you run, you're actually breaking your body down, and the adaptations that allow you to get fitter and stronger actually happen when you rest. And the single most important recovery tool, not a massage gun, not massage boots, not a foam roller, but sleep. When you sleep, your body releases growth hormone, it repairs tissues, and it restores a lot of your energy systems. A ton of research proves that getting less than 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night really decreases your performance. Not only that, but you're way more likely to get injured, and your body doesn't have time enough to adapt to the training properly. Now, I track my sleep on my Coros running watch, and I can definitely tell when I get the proper amount of sleep, my runs feel so much easier. And when I'm sleep deprived the next day, they are not fun, to put it simply. So for me, I tend to prioritize a consistent bedtime schedule. I'll keep my room relatively cold and dark so I can fall asleep pretty easily. I'll try to avoid screens before bed. I'm not that great at it. And most importantly, I treat sleep almost as training itself. I'll also try to fit in active recovery between workouts, things like walking or stretching, and those both get the blood flowing and allow me to recover quicker as well. So here's the thing, if you're tired on runs, it might not be your fitness at all, but your recovery. You simply can't out-train poor recovery. So treat it almost like training itself, and your runs will feel that much easier. All right, so there you have it. My top 5 tips to make running feel easier. Look, running doesn't have to be brutal where every single run feels like torture. Yes, it'll be hard sometimes, but that's the point. But using these 5 strategies, you can make your runs feel not only easier, but also more enjoyable. In my 8 months of running, these 5 things have become the biggest difference makers. And here's the cool part. When running becomes easier, you actually want to do it more. I can now say I look forward to a lot of my runs, which wasn't the case in the beginning. So pick one of these tips, just one, and implement it on your next run. Don't try to change everything at once. Maybe you slow down your pace, maybe you get more quality sleep. Just pick one thing. And while you're at it, make sure to drop a comment down below of what strategy you think you want to implement next. I read every single comment and I love to hear about your running journeys, so make sure to drop it down below. So if this video helped, make sure to like and subscribe with new running content coming out every single week. And make sure to follow my Strava if you haven't, because I am only about 19 weeks away from the Eugene Half Marathon. And with that being said, keep running, keep it easy, and I'll see you in the next video.